Good morning and thanks for joining us for KBUI 2 News Midday. I'm Rick Douglas. Now to your top 11 stories at 11. A multiple vehicle crash this morning caused a major backup on eastbound I-84 by the 5-mile overpass. A major headache for commuters, as you can see. Idaho State Police say a total of 6 vehicles were involved. At its peak, the backup easily ran to more than a mile. The inside lane was still blocked shortly after 10 while tow trucks were working to clear the scene. At this point, though, Idaho State Police have not said what caused the crash, but we will keep you updated when that information becomes available. An early morning fire on Ridgeway Drive in Boise sent up a plume of smoke that could be seen for miles. Boise fire officials say the blaze began about 7:30 in a storage shed connected to the rear of the home. Because the fire got knocked down quickly, a second alarm was canceled. Officials say the shed is a total loss. Investigators now say the fire was caused by a space heater. No injuries were reported. And fire investigators were back at daybreak to look into the cause of a house fire near Star. It happened around 11:45 last night and quickly grew to 2 alarms. Firefighters say when they arrived at the intersection of Beacon Light Road and North Wing Road, the house was pretty much gone. According to dispatchers, a neighbor reported hearing an explosion at about the time the fire started. Fire officials say the home is likely a total loss.
The structure is still mostly standing, but most of the walls are burned away. The roof is burned off. It doesn't really look like a house anymore.
Firefighters say one person was home at the time that the blaze started, but he was able to get out safely. Crews were still on scene, putting out hot spots until after 2 this morning. Investigators are now looking for a cause, but they won't be able to get to the actual fire scene until it's safe to do so because of those hot spots. Traffic on I-84 in Canyon County was blocked for several hours early this morning following a rollover accident. According to dispatchers, the crash happened just before 12:30 this morning, just west of Midland Boulevard in Nampa. Dispatchers say a single vehicle rolled over in the middle of the freeway, blocking both westbound lanes. 3 people from that vehicle reportedly were taken to the hospital. Runners for the Boston Marathon arrived early this morning in Hopkinton, Massachusetts, amid tight security and under rainy skies. It's the second edition of the famous competition since terrorist bombs killed 3 people and wounded more than 160 others at the finish line in 2013. Lalisa Disisa of Ethiopia won the 119th edition of the race. His time, 2 hours, 9 minutes, 17 seconds. It's his second victory. He also won in 2013. Kenya's Carolyn Rodish won the women's race with an unofficial 2:24:55. At least 3 people have died in a migrant ship disaster. It happened off the Greek island of Rhodes. Greek officials say the ship was carrying at least 83 people when it sank. 57 passengers have been saved and rescue crews continue their search. The incident is the latest in a series of disasters in which ships packed with migrants capsized. Meantime, Italy's Navy has agreed to commit ships and aircraft to patrol for migrants along the Mediterranean. Early voting for the May elections begins today in Canyon County. County residents who want to cast their ballot before Election Day can head to the Canyon County Elections Office and do it in person. Polls will be open until 5 p.m. today. Early voting ends on Friday, May 15th. Dozens of volunteers spent time this weekend up at Table Rock putting in several improvements to make the popular hiking spot a nicer place to be. Volunteers are working to replace the current cement bench with 7 smaller benches at a cost of $2,500 apiece. Local artists also painted nearby structures with murals representing the history of the Treasure Valley. The group still needs to raise about $26,000 to finish the project. Well, Boise's other farmers market opened for the season this weekend. The Capital City Public Market dates back to 1994, and after several moves, it now takes up 4 blocks on 8th Street between Main and State, giving Valley shoppers even greater choices for locally sourced food.
The fact that we can have local produce and local businesses come out every weekend and have a crowd of people to support them is just fantastic.
Wiley says he buys his food at the Capital City Public Market and then heads to the Boise Farmers Market for his produce. It's a combination that allows him to support both groups. One of Boise's most popular and picturesque landmarks celebrates a big anniversary. Yesterday, the Boise Train Depot turned 90. The iconic building opened back in 1925. The city welcomed more than 400 people to the party yesterday. Families took a trip down memory lane with free tours and trips to see the 96-foot tall bell tower.
The very first train rolled into this depot from Nampa, and with that train arriving, it connected Boise with the rest of the world for transcontinental rail service.
I just always loved it here. It's Idaho, it's Boise.
Many local train enthusiasts wonder if Amtrak will ever come back to Boise. The Boise Depot tour guide says that would take a lot of work, but it could happen one day. A heads up for Idahoans planning to make their way up into the mountains. The grizzly bears are now awake. Fish and Game reports several sightings in eastern Idaho last week, signaling the end of hibernation. That means it's likely that most grizzlies are now up and about. So if you're heading for Idaho's backcountry, officials want to stress bear safety. Hikers and bikers should carry bear spray with them and make plenty of noise to let the animals know that you are in the area.